So this is an introduction video to the next system we're going to build. So what I've got here are reproduction boards for an OSI system, Ohio Scientific System. These come from the OSI Preservation Project from Glitchworks. Specifically, he's on Tindy. There'll be links, of course, down in the video descriptions. So for me, with the success of the build of the OSI 400 CPU board, so I could test my 6501, it re-sparked my interest in OSI systems. OSI built systems back in the 70s that were, kits that you saw in various magazines. And they've reproduced the boards, like I said. So we're going to take a look at some of the boards in this project. So this is the backplane. This is a reproduction, so it's silk screened on the back, which is nice. There are a set of positions over here, so the small holes for termination resistors, some of which will be populated. This style of board takes, hopefully I have one here I can use as an example, these style of pin headers. So these are a Molex pin header, and they're round pins. You're probably used to seeing square pins, which are much more common. These are round pins, and there'll be 4 of these that'll drop down into the board like so. So I got lucky and found new old stock of these connectors in Poland, of all places, and ordered them and got a really good deal on them. I'm very happy with what I got. So let me get a 4th one out here. Maybe. They're doing a really good job of being jammed up in there. Hello, give me one of those. So this was an unopened bag of these 26, 202, 2121 connectors. So these are the original connectors that were spec'd by OSI for this backplane. Like I said, I found 80 of them new old stock in a sealed bag. I was very happy to find them, and even with postage from Poland, they got a really good price on these, and it's just cool to have the original parts. So there are multiple rows where 4 of these will go in like so. There's, of course, power bus here. There's a user bus here, which means you can use the signals whatever you want to. And then the connections down here are address. Is it data up here, I believe, and some control signals. Anyhow, you'd have multiple rows of these. So this backplane could potentially take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows of these. And then for the PC boards that get put in, we'll grab one here. You've got the boards. This happens to be a 502 CPU board. So it's a 6502 processor board. It's got room here for, I believe, 2114 RAMs, some ROMs, a 6502 processor. You have these connectors here, which again, these are the correctly spec'd connectors, which go onto the boards like so. And of course get soldered in. Oops, that one's got a pin header inserted into it. So the Heathkit H8 used something like this as well, pins and connectors, as did the Southwest Technical Product 6800. So this wasn't an uncommon design. And then of course this board would plug in onto these pin headers. Well, that's almost aligned correctly. Almost aligned correctly. I was a pin off, and of course there's no key here, or nothing to keep you from, of course, getting a pin off. But it would plug down onto here, kind of like so. Well, everybody would be lined up, but like so, and then stuck down on, and then there'd be multiple cards in the system. And OSI, they produce some pretty large systems, multi-card floppy controllers. There's a video card, various CPU cards. But where I'm going with this build is a very specific direction. So let's talk about that a bit more. This is a an OSI model 502 CPU board. Copyright 78, 6502 processor, 2 banks of 2114 RAM. There's a spot here for a monitor ROM, and there's a spot here for 4 2K, I believe, ROMs. It has the OSI BASIC in it. It's got cassette I/O on it, drivers for the bus, etc. But this board right here, I believe, can be a single board computer. Yes, it can, now that I think about it. You've got a couple more of these connectors that come off the board like so. One of these I believe is for cassette. I believe actually this guy down here is for the cassette recorder. Don't quote me on this, I could be wrong. I've just lightly reviewed these. And this is I/O, I believe up here, serial I/O. I believe there's an 6850, 6850 UART that sits in here. So a 6850 or a 6850 or 51, I don't remember, but there's a UART that sits right here. And this becomes RS-232. I believe the level shifters for RS-232 from TTL to RS-232 are kind of sitting in here. But this gives you serial I/O so that you can hook a terminal up to run the basics. So this, I believe, can be set up as a single board computer again. ROM, RAM, processor, mass storage, and terminal I/O. But this board's going to be used in a larger context. So we'll look at that next. So with the backplane here, and the CPU card into the backplane, we move on to the 560Z board. And this is where this is going to get really interesting in my mind. So something you may notice here is this has this style connectors on both this side and this side. And of course there are enough of these to have, a full bus on both sides. And so that's kind of interesting in its own right. And what happens here is, I believe this, one of the sides is called the MOS bus, the other side is called something else bus, and I'll be danged if I can remember. I've got more of these connectors coming. I don't have enough here to build everything I need to build. I tweeted about this where DigiKey accidentally only sent me 10 of these rather than the 20 I ordered. And of course, they very quickly in email replied that they're sending me the additional 10, so it wasn't even a question. But what happens on this board is you got the 6502 board over here we just looked at. That's the main system controller. This controls the system. Then on this board, you can put a Harris 6100 processor and a Z80 processor. And there's 4 spots here for 6520, 6521 PIA chips. There's 4 spots here for PIA chips. But what this board becomes is a board that can execute PDP-8 code. That's one of the things you can do with this. With the 6100 processor in here, that gives you PDP-8. It's a PDP-8 in a chip, essentially. And then the Z80. The Z80 becomes the IoT processor for the 6100. So the 6100 needs to talk to I/O devices, and the Z80 is what's emulating the front panel and the UART, all the I/O devices. So it really becomes the 6502 as the main system controller on the bus over here. Able to talk to I believe the Z80, although I could have that wrong. I need to dig deeper into this. PIOs to control all the I/O, the 6100, and this side becomes an expansion bus off the 6100 that RAM and things can live out on. There's another backplane that would go over here and additional cards. And again, we will discover this in more depth as I explore it. But that gives me a machine that can run things like Focal 8 or Focal 9. Focal 8? Anyhow, Focal for the PDP-8. It can run that. I'm assuming it can run... Well, the examples I've read show it thinking paper tape. So you can load Focal 8 in, those kind of things. Focal 8, why do I keep saying that? You can load Focal in, etc., and run PDP-8 code. So that will be really cool. So that's really what caught my attention. 2 things. OSI basic, single board computer, with the monitor becoming the system controller for a 560Z board here that contains the 6100 Harris chip PDP-8 compatible, and a Z80 that becomes the IoT processor. And of course, the thing we haven't looked at in all of this, as we've talked about it, is RAM. And someplace here in this stack of cushions, I have a modern designed RAM board. So I could use OSI RAM boards, I could get reproduction boards or even vintage boards when you can find them, and I could use OSI RAM, but in my case it's going to be easier to use this modern board here that uses more modern parts. So it's got, I believe, 8 locations here for RAM or ROM. It's using 256K, I believe, RAMs. I don't remember the exact specs anyhow. It's got RAM, spots for RAM and ROM, spots for decoding various things. This becomes interesting because the 6100, the PDP-8 is a 12-bit machine. So the 6502 is an 8-bit machine, with 8-bit data and 16-bit address bus. And the PDP-8 is a 12-bit machine, and I believe 12-bit address bus by default. I could be wrong. And so this card can be configured to be an 8-bit card for this side of the world, or as I understand it, to be a 12-bit card for this side of the world over here. Again, don't quote me on that. That's my current understanding. So really, this card and that CPU card, the 6502 card, will give me a very complete, large memory footprint system. And then we'll be able to expand that into the 560Z card and bring in PDP-8 emulation and just have a really cool little system here. Like I said, there's a couple more cards I'll need to complete that, but that's where we're headed. I believe the IoT register, or what's the register called? There's a register that you can, I don't know, it's been too long since I've dealt with the PDP-8. There's 12 LEDs that have to do with system status or data. I don't remember exactly. That can be added in here. There's a way to do that as well. I believe maybe that requires a second prototyping card. That may require a prototyping card. Like I said, I have a beginner's board set. It's not a complete board set. Be able to bring this up really 1 or 2 boards at a time. So pretty psyched. I think this is going to be a really cool project. Again, these boards are a product of the OSI preservation project. You do see OSI stuff pop up on eBay from time to time. There's some actual vintage boards up there now that somebody wants an astronomical price for. It's ridiculous. They've created these reproduction boards, which is really nice. They've got a really nice full set of reproduction boards. I opted to go look for the round pin headers, the original spec parts. There's more modern versions of this that have square pins that would also, I believe, work on this. These receptacles will take square or round pins. They actually have square openings, but they'll take the round pins. So you can get away, get away is the wrong term. You could build your own reproduction using a different set of pin headers, but basically, mechanically it's the same, electronically it's the same. I just really wanted to see if I could find vintage connectors, and I did. And like I said, got a really good price. I bought the guy out in Poland, and I got 80 of these. And with 4 per board, that gives me, 20 boards worth of connections, which is more than I'm ever going to need here, I think. There's going to be a couple backplanes, like a 4 slot and the 8 slot here. So I will consume, 12 times 4, 60 of these 80, but that's okay. The female connectors here are still available on DigiKey, and I think there may have been stock on Mouser as well, but the quantities are becoming limited. These are being harder and harder to find. Other stuff to hit here. Like I say, I'm pretty psyched. This is going to be an interesting build, and there's enough variation here that it scratches both my love of older machines. The OSI being a machine that I remember seeing in various magazines back in the day, and of course not being able to afford. I ended up going down the road of the Z80, not the 6502. It just is what it is. But I'm pretty psyched here. Like I say, bringing up single board computer running BASIC and then expanding the system out, very much like you would have done back in the day, is just pretty cool. I've been looking through my vintage chip collection. I have a 6100 processor, so the Harris 6100. I also have a loaner that was loaned to me that when I get to the point I can actually have a couple of them in case one of them's bad. I have plenty of Z80s. I have plenty of 6502s. I have the 6850 UARTs. I have the 6820 PIOs or PI8s. I think I have some 6821 PI8s. So, you know, some of the more difficult to source parts I already have, which makes me happy. I am going to follow kind of the direction I went with the CPU card, and then I'm going to use machine pin sockets where it makes sense. So that's, you know, the 40-pin devices, the expensive devices, and then I'll directly solder onto the board the more jelly bean TTL. I need to buy some 8T26s and some 8T95s and various machine pin sockets, and I'll be getting those from Unicorn Electronics here in the US. They have a fair amount of vintage stuff. They have a downloadable catalog, but don't trust the prices in it. Their web prices have, their prices have gone up. The catalog just doesn't reflect it, and you know, they've had to keep up with inflation and the modern world anyhow. So anything else to say here? I've said I'm psyched for this project several times. It's going to be an interesting build. So I look forward to sharing what I learn with you and the build with you, and I guess I'll wrap this one up here, and we'll talk soon.